The holy month of Ramadan is always very special in Egypt. It has its own manifestations and its own nights, Ramadan nights. Egypt is very famous with Ramadan nights.
As part of the Ministry of Culture's plan to celebrate religious occasions, the Cairo Opera House held a celebration for the religious chanting ensemble led by Maestro Omar Farahat to celebrate the holy month of Ramadan at the Gumhuriya Theatre.
أدعو وهمس دعائي أدعو وهمس دعائي.
The program includes a selection of supplications and religious works, including the names of Allah by Muhammad Qabil, the Night of the Journey, Pray for Him, Our Noble Prophet, and many more works.
تحلو مرارة عيش في رضاك في
It is worth noting that the religious chanting ensemble was founded by the late musician Abdul Halim Nuera in 1972 and began its first concerts under his leadership in 1973 with the aim of preserving the religious chanting heritage.
ومن سواك ومن سواك
The ensemble specialized in preserving religious works and melodies and training and adopting promising young voices in religious chants and supplications, as it participated in reviving all religious events throughout the year at the various Opera House theater stages in Cairo, Alexandria, and Damanhur.
علشان مديح النبي عطر شفايفنا ده الورد كان شوق ونام الشوق على كفوفنا.
One of Maestro Abdul Halim Nuera's imprints on the ensemble was that he changed the kaftan and turban to a black suit so as to fit the new trends. The religious chanting band's first concert was in October Victories in 1973 at the Sayyid Darwish Theatre at the Haram Music Institute, and it was a great success. The band didn't stop developing and modernizing itself as they continued during the 50 years from 1972 until now.
مدد يا نبي يا نبي يا نبي مدد.
ما كل من ذاق الهوى عرف الهوى، ما كل من ذاق الهوى عرف الهوى، ولا كل من قرأ الكتاب فهيم، ولا كل من طلب السعادة نالها، ولا كل من قرأ الكتاب فهيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد.
The religious heritage was merged with contemporary and modern songs through the leaders who succeeded in leading the band artistically, such as Salah Qubashi, Omar Farahat, along with some others. The religious chanting ensemble has represented Egypt in international forums in all Arab and European countries such as France, Belgium, Poland, and others. The troupe works to find all types of creativity in the field of religious chanting so as to spread its art and heritage throughout the world.
the land of civilization. Egypt is where everything has started in this world. So Egypt is always keen on preserving its heritage. Let's watch the following segment.
Old Cairo is famous for its various unique wide heritage from historical places and its diversity. The place that we will talk about now is an archaeological site at Sayyida Zainab Historic District of Cairo, prepared by the Bibliotheca Alexandria, which became a center for non-profit community service. It is also known as the House of Science, Arts and Culture. It is Beit Sinneri, which provides a various collection of activities that include workshops, seminars, courses, concerts, festivals, and art exhibitions. Beit Sinneri was built in 1794 by Ibrahim Khatak das Sinneri, whose surname refers to the city of Sinar. In 1798, the house was confiscated by the French to house the members of the Committee of Sciences and Arts that accompanied Napoleon Bonaparte to Egypt. Its mission was to conduct a systemic study of Egypt, published in the famous Le Description de l'Égypte. Gaspard Monge, opimum of the Passage, in which the house is located, was the president, Napoleon Bonaparte the deputy, and Joseph Ferrer the secretary. However, with the departure of the French expedition in 1801, the institute closed down. From 1917 to 1933, Beit Sinneri housed a private Napoleon museum. In the aftermath of the 1992 Cairo earthquake, the house underwent an elaborate restoration process. France, Egypt, and the UNESCO cooperated in the salvage of the house, and today the house is an important cultural center. One of those cultural activities is the first collaboration between the Irish artist Fionn Gunn and the Egyptian artist Lina Osema under the title Timelines, which invited viewers to think about their own lives, to interpret their many narrative creatures charted with memories of happier times and lessons, to develop a sense of lyrical detachment, creative response, saying, "This is an astrologic parade within a journey."
I'm very happy to be participating in this exhibition for myself and the Irish artist Fionn Gunn with a kind invitation from the Irish Embassy in Cairo. The exhibition is called Timelines, and I really like the resonance between my work and Fionn's. We are both working on the idea of time, and I like to think about time in my artwork as a non-linear concept. I'm exhibiting paintings from 3 different series. One of them is called Time Travelers, which I had in a solo show in 2022 for 50 paintings. And Time Travelers is quite an interesting series because it's fun. It brings together dinosaurs, ancient Egyptians, aliens, skeletons, animals, and it's all about nature. I started that series in 2020, and of course back then we were all influenced by the pandemic and the global unrest. And this series explores our relationship with the planet, our responsibility towards it, and lessons from previous inhabitants of this earth. The other series that I'm exhibiting in this show is about Siwa Oasis, which is also largely related to nature. And Siwa is a very mysterious and mystical place. It also has a rich culture bringing together influences from ancient Egypt, Arabs, Amazigh, and Ethiopians, among other African minorities there. I went there 5 times. I traveled to Siwa 5 times. Twice were with an artist residency from the Ministry of Culture, and I was fascinated by Siwa Oasis. I worked on this topic between 2018 and 2019, and these works were exhibited in a solo show called Olive Jam. Olive jam is a delicacy made in Siwa by adding large quantities of sugar to the naturally sour olives. And for me, this was a metaphor reflecting life itself with its ups and downs. The third series I'm exhibiting today in Beit Sinneri is about Egyptology as well, and about nature as well. And I'm very happy to be showing my artwork in this beautiful and historical place. I think the place itself brings out the work in a very unique way. If you see paintings in an old house like this Beit Sinneri, it's very different from visiting a regular gallery with white walls. And I am very happy about this experience. This is a very interesting show bringing together history, modernism, and two completely different cultures.
This artwork is called A Child's Dream of Babel, and this is very much about my experience as a small child growing in a small place and desperate to see big cities like Cairo or Beijing or London or Paris, and being so curious about that. And so you can see all these little children, and they're sort of from a village up in the mountains in Pakistan, but they're looking towards the city, as many people do, and dreaming about it. And it's their curiosity and their vision of what a city will bring them. And while the children are dreaming of going to the city, this artwork here is about the dream of city dwellers. And everywhere I've gone, to all the big cities like Beijing or London or Paris, people always say, but we dream of nature. And so I think there is a wonderful symmetry between that curiosity that we have about cities, and yet once we get there, we're dreaming of nature. So we're always in search of some kind of balance. This artwork is called Waiting to Enter. And for me, it's very much about what we as women, what we struggle with in the world. We are still excluded from many things. We're excluded from positions of power. We are often excluded from learning. We're excluded financially. And so I've used these images to sort of demonstrate what that feels like. You are left outside, you are sitting there, and the doors shut against you. Interestingly, I also like to play around with people's perceptions about where other people are from and where other cultures lead us. And so the three characters that you see sitting on the ground, they're not women from the Middle East. No, they're actually actors who were extras in a film about Marco Polo, and they're playing the part of the Crusaders' widows. So again, it's that complicated history that is very nuanced and that it's worth thinking about. Here is Bridge of Memory, and in it you can see me as a small child when I was just 4. And one of the things I discovered as a small child was that I was really interested in other places. How did I discover this? Because I lived above an antique shop that was in my mother's family. And at the time, people were poor. We didn't have toys for children. So I played with the objects that we had in the antique shop for sale. Many of those objects were Chinese, but they were also North African, Middle Eastern, European. And so when I come to Beit El Seneri, I can sense that connection as well, aesthetically and in terms of time. And so this is me, and I'm looking at a wonderful junk ship. I used to play with a tiny ivory junk ship that was carved in China in the 18th century, so the same century that this house was built. And these are the things that really stick in my memory and that still inspire me to this day. In Divided City, once again, I quote Plato. And he talks about all cities being divided. There's the city of the rich and the city of the poor, and they are at war with one another. And this is a very terrible thing, and I think we can just look outside to see this is the world we live in, but how can we change it?
Well, with this, my dear viewers, we come to the end of this episode of our program, Culture Magazine. I hope you've enjoyed being with me. Please wait for me in the next episode. Until then, it's goodbye.